Hi. So it's been a while since I've recorded anything because it's been a while since anything has prompted me to record anything. And I'm not really like taking in a lot of culture right now. It's been a very odd summer for me. Like physically, mentally, spiritually, it's been strange. Um, yeah, me and the summer just don't get along physically anymore, and it's weird. Um, I used to love the summer, and it agreed with me and made me feel energized and wanted to take on like the summer and do stuff. And now it's just like, oh my god, I'm so drained and so hot and so uncomfortable all the time. But I'm grateful. It's been a very uneventful summer on the East Coast, and it seems like the rest of the country has been broiling or flooding or going through the most. And we had a storm yesterday, or a couple days ago, but other than that, it's been a pretty quiet summer over in these parts. So, anyways, weather chit chat aside, what brings me on is uh, the baby. Okay, so apparently at the Rolling Out festival, the baby goes on stage and during a break and while he's doing the like hype up the crowd, sort of like put your lighters up situation. His version of this is to say, and you can find the clip online. I'm not doing all this, like I don't have the ability to like edit in clips of the video because I'm poor. But also, I mean, I think it's been talked about enough. But he basically, says that um, he's telling people in the crowd to put their cell phone lights up if they don't have HIV or AIDS or an STI that's going to kill them in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Cool. If the females private areas smell neutral, put your cell phone lights up. And if finally, if there are gentlemen who have decided not to participate in oral sex with other gentlemen in the parking lot of the venue, put their cell phone lights up. And so, beyond the absurdity of all of that and the baffling sort of timing of why and when he decided to say these things, um, after all the commentary I've taken in listening to a lot of the um, content creators reacting to it, the one thing that I just didn't hear get said, and the points that I've heard made are that HIV and AIDS is not something that only affects gay people. So even though it is particularly offensive to the struggle of Black, gay, um, trans, well, the entire queer rainbow, how offensive it is because of the fight we have had to get healthcare and services around this pandemic that has been raging through our community silently for the past 20, 30 years. Besides that misstep, um, that HIV and AIDS generally affects the Black community because of the economic disparities in the healthcare system and how exorbitantly expensive it is to pay for HIV and AIDS treatment, testing, and so forth. And that the fact that in 2021, probably 30 years into this crisis, we are still having to have the conversation of get tested, know your status, get treatment. You can live with this virus. That you do not have to succumb to shame or stigma, and that it is important for you to be on top of this for the health of you, yourself, your community, your family. No matter how much we've been fighting this battle for the entire Black community, because trust me, when you're going into these HIV/AIDS organizations, you are standing on the shoulders of Black LGBTQ people who have been founding these organizations, shepherding these organizations to the future, and um, the the babies come the babies. I hate saying the baby. The baby's comments illuminate how um, hard this work has been. That, I mean, despite his name, I believe the baby is damn near, I mean, he's an adult. I don't know how old he is. He looked about 50, but I think he's maybe 40s, maybe late 30s. I have no clue. I don't really care, but he's old enough to know that um, the health care of Black Americans is not a priority in this country, and that HIV and AIDS is something that has touched this community in ways that have been devastating. And although I fully support people who want to celebrate the fact that they have not been affected by the disease personally, it's just odd as crap for an artist to take time to do that during their content in this odd way. It's just awkward and um, not affirming. And I think the thing that really hit my heart and really broke it was in my mind when I heard him say it. The first thing that came to my mind was how powerful it would have been if he had said something opposite of that. If he had said, if you are HIV positive or know someone who is living with, or or if you've supported someone dying from AIDS, put your lighter up. If you know someone who's living with HIV and they are taking their meds and they're undetectable, put your lighters up. If you are on PrEP, put your lighters up. Like, if he had taken his platform and done the opposite of shaming and stigmatizing, how beautiful it would have been. It's just so the direct split screen in my head. It's just so I would the way our hearts would have exploded for this person if he had taken that time to stand in solidarity with people who are struggling against a system that basically caused for this to be an issue worldwide. I mean, I just the fact that he didn't he couldn't see his default was to shame and stigmatism. We have so much work to do, y'all. Like, it's crazy. And then he doubled down on it, and then he's apologizing, and I saw in a very real way what he said, like that we deserve to be upset that he was coming from a place of ignorance. But in a way, I have to thank him for putting his ignorance on display, because when you tell people, most people would say, no, there's no way, nobody, there's no way people don't believe that. If you were to hear somebody saying what the baby said on the corner, you would write it off as like the rantings of a lunatic. You'd be like, that's fine. You go ahead and, like, act like you got your shit together, but the rest of us are out here like fighting a fight. Like, it's It's not cute out in these streets just to be patting yourself on the back for avoiding something that's killing your people. Um, I mean, and like like the Mad Libs of it all, he could have just. I mean, it was just so random. I mean, like, what? And he could have like inserted any disease, and it just would have sounded so equally absurd. Like, put your lighters up if you don't have diabetes. Put your lighters up if you don't have scurvy. Like, what? If you taking your vitamin C and you getting out in the sun, and you know if you over 60 and you taking your Boniva and you don't have brittle bone disease, put yourself. It's just so bizarre. I just don't understand why choose the stigmatism and randomly, so randomly, and it's certain things in the culture that we just seem to silently co-sign, and we do not talk about HIV and AIDS enough in the Black community, enough to a point where our numbers are still raging. It is scary out in these streets. Please protect yourself. Please get tested. Please put your cell phone lighters up if you're tested. Please put your cell phone lighters up to a bulletin board to find out where the STI clinic is and if it's funded. Please put a cell phone lighter up if you want to go volunteer to get your community healthy in all sorts of ways. If you know something about diet and exercise or wellness and well being, Jesus Christ. Put your cell phone lighters up if you don't have HIV or AIDS or an STI that'll kill you in the next 2 weeks. And what's the craziest thing is, like, by the statistics, there's probably at least one person or two people who were in that crowd who will be dead in the next 2 weeks due to some sort of infection they didn't get a test for. It's so bizarre, morbid, and absurd. Um, I the putting your cell phone lighters up for women who doesn't who smell like water. You know what? I'm really. What don't these men complain about? Like, I it, if you so damn grumpy about, like, I mean everything. It's like, so you're not and and you're not imploring people to know their sexual health or get tested. You're just, telling them to pat themselves on the back, for not acknowledging the disease, because very well, they could have had it and not known. Um, so they're putting their lighters up today, and in a few weeks they might be lights out. But uh, you're encouraging that behavior at a concert and telling people who should be jumping up and down and sweaty in the hot Florida heat, humid, that they should be ashamed of themselves if they now smell. And lastly, whether or not they are participating in sex acts in parking lots. Um, then the little cosign from the DJ was really kind of funny to me. This whole, he was like, "Y'all mad sus," like, I don't know. To me, it was kind of like a signal. It was like saying, like, if you are sucking dick in the parking lot, let a nigga know. Like, that's what I heard. Because I know that's how niggas work. Uh, like, so, because like the opposite was, so put your cell phone light up if you were not participating in this behavior. So, in his mind, that means put up the most amount of lights. In the mind of a slut, I'm definitely not putting my lighter up because I want you to know that I'm out in the parking lot sucking dick. Like that's that's why I came to the festival, because there is a crowd of high and drunk people at the Rolling Loud festival, and I came to have a good time. So yes, please put your lighter up if you're not, so I can make sure that my marketing is on point. that that I don't have any competition out here, and that I could just be out the parking lot and I just be like, I told you I didn't put my lighter up. You see what it is. Um, oh my gosh. It's just like I said, the split screen of it all, just the way the conversation and what he said could have gone either way. It's so funny to me and just so heartbreaking and so concerning and absurd. And I'm not mad at the guy because I I don't have high expectations, and I'm kind of sick of not having high expectations for people who make so much money. People talk a lot about this cancel culture thing, but I really don't get the whole. Um, I don't get what people are really saying when they're like anti cancel culture or whatever when it comes to wealthy people who make their money on public opinions. I think, in a lot of ways, what they're saying is, if this had been any other person in privilege or power, they would have been able to sweep all this stuff under the rug. I think even the baby intimated that, you know, this happened at a live show, and, what you're seeing is out of context, which is like a plausible deniability argument. Um, but I think at I think for all of us, you have to be careful what you say to who you say it, especially if it's the public, because if your funds are based on numbers and you keep chipping away at those numbers, then eventually you'll be left without an audience. So, there is a segment of black women who are not fucking with you because of this. There is a segment of black gay men who are messing with you because of that. There's a segment now of people who are anti slut shaming and STI stigmatization who are looking at you like, what? So it's, you're just you can't get to this place where you've kind of eliminated all your audiences, and just because you just going for the big common denominator, and that being like you still make bops, and yeah, that's a privilege that you're getting to exercise. And um you know most people don't get to rule a decade. They get a summer. They get a, they might get a good high school dance memory. That was the song that everybody listened to at their prom and danced to, but they never heard from that artist again, and the people are fine with that. I think the baby was on his way to being the next pop rap icon, and he has firmly stuck his foot in his career for that to happen. Um, and I'm not supporting this whole, like, a lot of black people do this thing where it's just like, oh, he done mess with the gay people, so he not gonna get the blah blah blah. There goes the Grammys and all this industry stuff, and then but he'll still have the black community and all these things, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I mean, I think the black community recognizes excellence where there's excellence, and you know, I don't know. I think, yeah, there's an unironic space for like pop hip hop artists who get to stick around and make us nostalgic, like a Soldier Boy, or I don't know who else. I don't know. I can't really think of anything else, but I, I just, a 50 Cent maybe. Um, you know, but he flipped his money and he went to like 50 different investments and careers and branded himself as this really savvy business person from the beginning. Um, I can't really think of a lot of people who like inhabit that pop hip hop space who've had long careers without having to do a bunch of music. Um, but I'm sure the baby will be fine. Um, he looks like he'll be looking the same for like a long time, and he's got an audience for his music. I won't be checking for anything else from him from now on out because to me he was the thing that went against his branding for me in that very moment was I always saw him as a positive person, a person who wanted who for all his faults or all his personal things he's been accused of or been associated with, he was still fun and just that knuckleheaded cousin that's just a hothead, but they still fun. Um, you know, I had heard and seen some sort of like tantrums and sort of these things and like I don't know, that thing with him and the kids the other week where he was just being loud and wrong and trying to teach the kids about money, and he was really fucking up because the kids were basically saying giving a conversation of value versus worth and profit versus long term. Like he messed up that whole lesson, reducing them to a hustle. I don't know. He's a bafflingly um, oblique person who I think needs to realize that he's really just the trade. Like you're just the cute dude who has a look and you make music at a certain level that resonates in a certain way. But in order to get that big, you know, following, you're going to have to do a lot more than you're going to have to do a lot more. You have to just a lot more time. And like, I don't know. I mean, Bobby Shmurda seems to still be rocking around. It's like somebody's keeping these niggas afloat. And, um, I don't know. Tyga goes away and pops back up. And all these rap niggas seem to do, whatever the fuck they want to do when they want to do it. And I think it's based on looks, really. It's like they are the new bimbos of the industry. And cool. Like, they don't have to say much or do much. And they get rewarded. So, like, keep whittling away at that audience, till you're there with the people who just want to look at you be foolish and they're waiting for you to keep producing more music. And basically, you're a slave to that because you're not going to be able to make any mistakes. You know, little Uzi Vert out here buying planets and shit. Kodak Black is sunning around somewhere looking like a horror movie reject. Like, there's just so many of y'all just who have very recognizable branding, but no substance. Just not interesting. and then you have the nerve to kind of turn around and like take on whole communities. And I just need, I don't know. I don't know. I, I'm tired of bad behavior being rewarded. I'm ready for black excellence to return to pop culture. I am ready for, I don't want Normani to have to keep putting out these like watered down singles. I want pop stars that sing and dance, or you know or one or the other, or like, I'm proud of a little Nas X who can give me visual masterpieces and make heat, and do that thing. But I miss a Tony Braxton and a even a Brandy. Like, I need sounds and harmonies, and yeah, that's what I need in my pop culture. I don't need a baby. I really don't. So, you know, thank you for showing your ignorance, and if there are people in his audience that agree with that, just realize that those people putting up their cell phone lighters, those are people who probably aren't getting tested for HIV. So those people are a little bit those people are a little more dangerous than respecting themselves enough to just wait to get to the hotel to suck dick. You know, you can still contract HIV in the hotel 5-star room, the baby. So, yeah. So, yeah, get tested, raise your expectations, y'all. Do better, be better. Bye.